Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at a powerful tool in Adobe Premiere Pro when you're editing video, and that is called text-based editing. So we're going to look at how Adobe Premiere Pro can transcribe your clips, produce text for you, and you can use that text in a number of different ways. I have this project already open in here, and I'm also in the text-based editing view. If you go up to here and you go to workspaces, you have your editing workspace. This is the traditional view that you get, or the default view, when you open Premiere Pro. But what we want to do is to be in the text-based editing workspace. So that's the first thing I'm going to do, change that to text-based editing, and that changes a bit. It gives you a bit more space on the left for you to see your text as you are working. You can still use this in the normal view, but this just gives you a bit more space to work with. So the first thing you need to know is that you can actually have Premiere Pro transcribe your clips automatically as you import them. And what you need to do is set that in Premiere's settings or preferences. So if you go up to Premiere Pro and you go to settings, you can actually go to media analysis and transcription, click on that, and then go to media analysis and transcription, as you can see there, and you have different options. The first one is analyze all imported media to visually search your projects, and that's by default checked on, so I'm going to leave that on. The other thing you can do is for Premiere to automatically transcribe your clips. Once you have that checked, you have other preferences that you can change. Auto transcribe all important clips, or auto transcribe only clips in the sequence. I'll just leave only in sequence. And then you also have speaker labeling, and what this does is you can separate your speakers, or you can label your speakers if you have something like a podcast where you have, let's say, 3-4 people speaking, and they all have separate mics and they have separate audio. You can actually label all their audio so that when you're editing, you know exactly who's speaking. Adobe Premiere Pro actually shows you on the text that speaker 1 is talking, speaker 2 is talking, and that really speeds up a lot of things that you're going to be doing in text-based editing. The third thing that you have is to enable language auto detection. I have this one set to English because I edit in English mostly, so that's fine. For this tutorial, this is just going to be an introduction, so I'm not going to have Premiere auto transcribe. I'll show you how to do that manually, and I'll just leave the panel the way I'll just leave the settings the way they were. I just wanted to show you that you can actually have that option. So I'm going to cancel out of that, and then I have this project open already. Now, if you don't see your text, if you are in the editing workspace, and you're not able to see this panel here that allows you to transcribe, you need to go to your window and make sure that text is checked at the bottom. If text is not checked, you're not going to see your transcribe panel. So that's checked, and then, like I said, I'm going to move from the traditional workspace where I usually edit, and I'm going to change that into text-based editing, and that gives me a bit more space on the left. So let's transcribe this clip right here, and you see how easy it is to do that. It's already selected, and as you can see, when it's selected, transcribe is available. So I can go up and just hit transcribe, and the Adobe Premiere AI does its thing. Depending on how long your clip is, it's going to take a while before the transcript actually comes up. This is a really short video, it's about 9 minutes long, So let's see how long it's going to take to transcribe it. Now the transcription that you get, or the text that you get after you do this process, is not always very accurate. So if you're going to use this text for captions, for example, or to generate other documents, then you need to go in and actually edit it. And from my experience, one of the things I've noticed is I work with a lot of different people with a lot of different accents, and Adobe Premiere works better with some accents than others. The way we speak English is different, so it will be different. So as you can see, that's the transcript is all done. If I want to edit the transcript, all I need to do is double click in here, and now I can actually edit different things. And to save what you've edited, you just click away and it is saved. All right, let's have a look at some of the things that you can do in text-based editing. The first thing is deleting gaps in your video. So you'll see, if I go down to the timeline, you see there are a lot of places where there are gaps for some reason or another, and those gaps are represented in the transcript as these 3 dots. And when you hover over them, it will show you how long those gaps are. So this is 10.2 seconds, this one is 4 seconds long, and this one is a second long. So if you want to get rid of all the gaps, the small gaps where people are not talking, you can easily just go in there, just click on it, and when it's highlighted in blue. You can hit the delete, or you can just hit delete, and you can see in the timeline that gap has been deleted. And so let's do another one. Select that, and you can see there's in and out has been selected where the gap is. I hit delete and that gap is closed. So that's a quick way of editing all the gaps that are in all the gaps where there's silence on your timeline. Just click on these 3 dots in the transcript and just hit delete, and you're good to go. You can see these tools up here are tools that you can actually use as well. Right now this is the in and out, and when you click on it, you select and deselect, and this is where Adobe Premiere Pro sets your in and out automatically whenever you select something. So right now it's selected. If I wanted to get rid of this part of the video, I can just hold down, select this text. So now it's in blue. Let's go again. Yeah. So the text is in blue. As you can see, it's highlighted on the timeline, and I can delete that text by either using delete, or I can use these 2 tools up here. One is lift. When you use lift, what you are doing is creating a gap in the timeline so that whatever you've removed, the timeline doesn't close. So if I do lift, you can see there's a gap where that dialog was. But if I do undo, if I use extract instead, it's going to ripple delete. It's going to ripple delete and close the timeline. So if I hit that, you can see there's no gap. The text is gone and it has been extracted. There's no gap and the text is gone. So deleting gaps, you can delete whole sections of text by just selecting the text and hitting delete. The other thing you can do is you can actually copy certain sections of your timeline by just selecting the text. So if you have someone that's speaking and say you want to create a short, or you want to create another sequence, I can actually copy and paste. So look at this. I copy this text and then I move, let's say, to another part of the timeline or to a different sequence, and I go edit and paste. And you can see you can actually copy and paste sections of a video just using the text. That part of the video has been copied and pasted, and you can also cut and paste. Okay, so that's the third thing you can do. It's also a good way of rearranging sections of text. So let's say I have this text and I want this text somewhere else in the video. I can actually just select the text. Let's say I cut the text. It's gone. I move to some other part of the video, go there and then paste it, and there it is. The text is on another part of the video. So you can easily rearrange the spoken dialogue just using the text from one part of the video to another. The other thing you can do is actually select specific phrases or text in your video, and this can be really powerful if you have a long interview, and during the interview maybe you're making notes and you really like a certain section of the video and you want to be able to find that section very quickly. So let's say I have this text. Let's say I wanted this text. It says the lady's name was Eve, and if this was a really long video and I don't remember exactly where she said that, I can just go up here on the search and then type in, let's say, Eve, and you can see all the instances where she said Eve. You can be more specific and say the lady's name was Eve, and there it is. So a good practice when you're doing interviews or podcasts and you're going to be the editor is to just keep running notes of specific things that you really like in the interview or the podcast that you feel you want to keep, or maybe you want to make them into another short video, whatever. Just keep notes of those, and once you're in Premiere Pro, you can search, you can actually search for those sections of the video just using text like this. Another powerful thing you can do is search and replace. So let's say, just for illustration, let's say Eve, okay? And so it searches all the Eves, and I can do replace and either replace with nothing, or let me say I'll replace this with Adam instead of Eve, and I just go replace. You can have the program replace each word one at a time, or you can actually do replace all, and every instance where she says Eve is now going to say Adam. But obviously this doesn't really work with this particular video, but you can imagine when you have someone who says R's and O's and some other filler words that you want to get rid of in the video, that's how you just simply search for those filler words and bulk delete all of them, and that saves you a ton in editing. And finally, what you can do with this is create captions. So once you have your transcript, if you look up here, you have a little CC, and that's how you create captions. So if I click on this, it's going to bring up the Create Captions dialog box, and if you scroll down or open that drop down, you're going to see all the options that you can use to create captions. So you have a lot of options in here, but I'll just leave these to the default so that you see how that works. You can change all these, and you can change the number of lines. If you want gaps between captions, the minimum duration, of each of the captions and so on. So I'll just leave this on default and just click on one line. I just want all my captions on one line, and I go create captions. And what Premiere does is it creates a caption track, subtitle track above everything. These are special tracks that are dedicated to subtitles, and if I open that up, you can see what's in the subtitle. Now you can see at the left here something has changed. Now you get timing of each of the subtitles as they refer to the video, and when you move along, the captions move along with the video, or you can see where you are. If you need to go back to your transcript, you can always go back to the transcript by clicking on the transcript, and it gives you just the text and the timing. If you go to captions, if you go to captions here, you get the actual captions. So the other thing you can do with this transcript is actually export the transcript and create a document. So all you need to do is to go to these three dots on the top here and then go export, and you can export to text file. So let's export the text, export to text, and then you choose where it's going to go and save. So when you go to the file, this is what you get. It's a text file, and it has your timing and your text. And there you are, a beginner's guide to text-based editing. I hope you found the video useful, and if you did, make sure that you give it a like, and also if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you are alerted when I make more content like this one. Go ahead and try it and see if it's something that will make your video editing much more efficient and faster. See you on the next video.